And for the first time this series for the Louisiana State Only Challenge, we are not going to be starting the episode with a trade. Sitting at the trade deadline, know we talked a little bit about at the end of last episode. It really just seems that the defense is where we can make the trades. But the trades on the defense just continually don't really seem to be working all too well. So why keep trying to do the same thing without getting the results? Kind of the definition of insanity. So we're going to change it up a little bit. Instead of trading, we're actually going to change the defensive playbook. We were running with the Seattle Seahawks defense. We're going to try the Buffalo Bills, still a 4-3, but maybe some slightly different play calling will help us out. And to kind of show the reason why, let's talk about the stats. So currently we have the 23rd ranked defense. Got to do better than that. I mean, we have the talent on the team to do better than that, but we're not seeing it. And we're just going to be talking about the stats of the defense here. Patrick Queen and Quan Alexander continue to lead us in terms of tackles and honestly even in a lot of other categories. So making a trade, at least right now, for Devin White or a Deion Jones, I just don't think it's really going to impact us all too much. If we were to make a trade for a linebacker, I would want it to be White just because he's on the younger side, 25, currently sitting in this series. Well, Alexander is on the older side, but right now they're both getting the job done, so I don't want to mess with that. Where we could have made the trade is actually for a safety, and I had a commenter who's talked about where we should go with Tracy Walker. He has the dev trait, and I appreciate that comment. I agree the dev trait could be good for us, but the actual ratings themselves weren't that far off of Mills. So making a trade, just again, doing the same thing we've been trying to do without seeing much success, kind of wanted to go away from that. But as we take a look in terms of who's getting the stops, so Danielle Hunter, we traded for him last episode, gave a future 1 and I want to say a current 5 or 6 or something for him, and he hasn't recorded a single sack for us. We do have 5 tackles for a loss, but honestly, I couldn't even tell you if that was during his time with us or not. I know of at least 1 tackle for a loss that he's had, and actually a good portion of them came in the last game of the last episode, which we primarily simmed. So from a premier edge rusher like Danielle Hunter, we really need to see the sacks, and we're just not seeing it. And in terms of other defensive linemen who are getting tackles for loss, Arden Key does have 5. And it should not be such a similar stat line between Danielle Hunter and Arden Key. Milton Williams getting 5 from the DT spot. I'm fine with that. That's almost 1 per game. Devon Godshaw, 4 tackles for loss, but he does have a sack. That's something that our other defensive linemen don't have. And jumping off of that, we've only had 3 sacks this season. And one of them was from a guy who doesn't even regularly play. So kind of surprising. Rashard Lawrence gets a sack, but our starting guys really aren't showing up front. However, we are forcing some turnovers, and that's kind of keeping us in these games, if not giving us the chance to win. Xavier Woods in his first season with us, 3. We have 2 for Patrick Queen and Derek Stingley, again, first year for him. And then Quan Alexander with another 1. So I feel like the problems we're having are primarily due to play calling. That's really as much as I could narrow it down to. So we're going to give this a shot, changing the playbook rather than trying to make another trade. And if it doesn't work out for us, that's a trade we can make in the off season. But I do want to get through at least a good chunk of this season, kind of give us an idea of where we're going this season. And if it's not going anywhere, similarly to season 1, we're going to quickly get on through. But before we could get into any quick simming, obviously you can see here on the left-hand side above me, we have a breakout DB and a tandem breakout on the offense, so we're definitely going to be jumping into at least a portion here of the Texans game. And this is a breakout opportunity for Christian Fulton. It would only give him up to a star dev, so only needs the 1 interception, force him tackle for loss or sack, or him in the defense just in general, hold the Texans to less than 200 passing yards. On top of that, the offense is going to have DJ Chark here being inspired pretty much from Justin Jefferson. So let's challenge DJ Chark. He's been getting a lot of the passes his way in the slot. If he can't capitalize on them, that's more so on him than it is anything else. So what do we need to get here for DJ Chark? Well, one, we get a nice experience boost here for Justin Jefferson. But for DJ Chark, he wants to have 150 receiving yards. We're going to see what we can do. Try to air the ball out through the slot, and any bonus or any touchdowns we get with Chark will just be a bonus if we complete the goal. So a lot on the line. And in addition to that, it's also a chance to get back to 500, level things off here before the week 9 bye, and try to really put things together in a meaningful, impactful way and try to finish the season off strong. At least if we're not going to win the division or make it to the playoffs, I want to have at least a good season. So let's jump on into the first game here against the Texans. See if we could get some of these dev boosts or experience boosts and get a win. Something that we've struggled with a little bit in this series. And we'll be getting this battle underway on defense. Already going to see if this new playbook maybe starts to spark something here. Will be a drop back pass going deep downfield, and a great catch. Derek Carr hooks up with Christian Kirk for a massive gain. Play 1, 37 yards. Looked like we had a couple guys over there, and you would have expected one of them would have knocked that one out, but no. It's going to be a strong I formation here. Actually, just a normal I. Either way, it was a heavy set was what I meant by the strong. Gain of 4 for Kareem Hunt. He's coming off a 100-yard, 15 carry, and a touchdown game. As the Texans, with another throw right across the middle, that's where the defense has struggled the most. We try to make the change of the playbook, and maybe I just need to do a custom one for the defense. Focus on the man coverages. That's typically what our guys are at least better at. I wouldn't say it's what we do best, but it's at least what their skill set says we should be doing better. Gain of 6 on first down, leaving 2nd and 4. Shotgun pass right across the middle. Another catch for Christian Kirk inside the 10 as a timeout taken for an injured backup DT for us. That was Rashad Lawrence, who came up a little bit injured, and honestly not quite sure why he was out there. I might need to double check this depth chart. Madden loves to change things. But as it stands right now, finally our first good defensive play gets the quick stuff. We'll leave them with a 2nd and goal at the 4 as they come out with a heavy set. 2 tight ends at the bottom, 1 up top. Will be a cutback and a great cutback as Kareem Hunt puts them on the board, taking an early lead. Well, this offense has some superstar power. Joe Burrow as well as Justin Jefferson, and the interceptions are down from last year, but can we get the offense just regularly moving? So that's been the bigger issue with this team, is that we have some superpower guys here over on offense, but they're just not consistently getting the points. It's going to be Chark on play 1 who will get the catch and will fight for the first down. Just going to need that same play about 14 more times. And on top of that, if we could get a few extra touchdowns in there, I think it'll be good for his development. We'll see how often we go his way. We did try Jefferson at the slot last week in a few games. Didn't really feel like it helped out much, so for now we'll keep Chark at the slot, JJ on the outside. Maybe play with things some more as we move along if we need to. 2nd and 6, Burrow gonna look to scramble. Didn't see much of this last episode or at all this series. He's past the 30 and is out, taking a slightly late hit there at the 26. That's a massive 35-yard rush. We knew Joe Burrow had it in him. He just hadn't done it yet, so nice to see that at least getting slightly involved. 1st and 10, inside the 30 with a shot right down the seam intended for Chark, who was in about triple coverage. Luckily that ball hits the turf and not into the opposition's hands. A little bit of shake and bake there for Boston Scott, but only manages 2. Another empty look here as we have a 3rd and 8. 3 receiving targets up top, but Murrow stays in to block. We'll dump this one off. Boston Scott is close, but shoved out prior to the first. But if we're going to get this offense moving and winning some games, it's going to require us going for it. As we'll swing this one outside, and a heck of a play there from 56. Diving, he got the stop on 3rd down as well. Brooks denies us. Thought that was going to be an easy first down catch there, but Clearly wrong as the Texans take over. Get a first down on 2 back-to-back 5-yard rushes from Kareem Hunt. A few more and not getting the first down on 3rd. 4th and 2, do they punt? Yes, they do. This time, can we end the drive in a touchdown? Want the touchdown. I don't want the field goals. Brooks with another knock away. We do convert on 3rd down with Terrence Marshall. We'll pick up another 4 yards thereafter. 3rd and 1. Davis Price converts. Keep this thing moving here. We're getting to the red zone. We'll jump in. Moreau with 5, another 3. Boston Scott, 3rd and 1. Boston Scott converts. Interesting, we keep him in there on a 3rd and short instead of bringing in Darrell Williams that we do on that play. And then a throwaway 3rd and 7. We get 6. And once again on a 4th down, close to our own end zone here, close to their end zone. The end zone we want to score in. A nice juke there from Price. A fake spin, and he's in. Okay. Apparently, if you want to get by a safety, all you got to do is add a little fake juke spin in there, and you're good to go. Davis Price gets us on the board. Was definitely not the manner of which I thought we would have scored, but on 4th down, I'll take it. Loss of 3 there, and then a throwaway is a quick stop for our defense. Get our offense the ball back here with about 4.5 minutes. Nice catch there, Terrence Marshall. Gets us out of the shadow of our own goalpost as we'll continue to move the ball forward here. 3rd and 4. Chart converts the first down with an extra 2. 13 yards through the air to Davis Price, and then loses 2 with the very next play. 2nd and 12. He gets it all back except for about a yard and a half. And then Chark shows up with a 33-yard touchdown. Okay, so his yards probably looking around 50. Plus the touchdown, still going to need about 100 more yards from him. But we're in front here, and that's what matters the most. Not sure about the opposition's passing yards, the Texans' passing yards. Haven't seen anything crop up, at least for Christian Fulton. We'll see if he ends up getting that interception or something, as Texans are moving close to the end of the first half here. Under a minute left, and why not? We'll jump in from here. With 59 seconds, 2 timeouts, they're up or down now, actually, to the 35. We're going to motion out. Hunt will be an empty set here for Derek Carr, as we have a 5-man line. Okay, well, they'll go the quick pass up top. Is that Cooper Kupp? Off the top of my head, that's the only guy I could think of for a receiver who would wear a number around 10 that would be a superstar. Either way, not gaining very much there, and it's an X factor. Although that's just number 1. I could have sworn it was number 10. I don't know. Maybe I'm seeing things as Kittle fights forward for the first down. That should have been a quick tackle. Have to do better than that. About 1, maybe 2 plays left here in the first half, and it'll be a touchdown. Christian Kirk will level this one up. Now, with 8 seconds before half, did not expect us to do much, so we'll just run out the clock and get in to the second half, as we will be starting with the ball, though. However, a gain of 0 on the first run, not fantastic. Justin Jefferson just 5 yards, and then knocked away Nate Hobbs. So offense goes nowhere as the Texans take over for their first second half possession. A sack coming in, Arden Key. What is that, the first from an actual defensive lineman for us? Took well long enough, but we do get the stop and the ball around midfield. A perfect opportunity here to get back in the end zone. If we could gain some yards, there we go, Terrence Marshall. Would also love to end this drive with a touchdown, but honestly, I'll take any points here, and it's going to be any points as we have to settle for the Cade York field goal, 17-14. Still not seeing a whole lot from our guy on defense, Christian Fulton. I'm seeing a lot of chunk plays here and there, though, for the Texans, including 28 yards to Jamal Agnew. Gets him inside the 30 and about at the 20. We'll give them the 3rd and inches. Do they convert? No. 4th and inches. Do they go for it? No, they level it with the field goal. So 17-17. As there's a little bit under 3 minutes left here in the third quarter. We're going to lose 3 yards, play 1, then throw away. 3rd and 13. Joe Burrow rushes for 2 yards. So offense goes absolutely nowhere. And yeah, it was Cooper Kupp. See, I'm not going at least completely crazy. Christian Kirk, 4 yards. It looks like a good receiving core here for the Texans. A lot of really good guys, and you have to include Kittle in that as well. 2nd and 2, they convert. 1st down, Chuba Hubbard inside the 25 and into the 4th quarter. And as we begin said 4th quarter, 17-17, but the Texans looking to jump ahead once again. Cooper Kupp in motion, they fake the jet sweep, hand it off Hunt, who gets smacked by Alexander, only a gain of 2. At least not giving him the same amount of success as he saw last week. Slightly better for us, about 40 yards less on the same amount of carries. And I thought that was an overthrow. No, it's a perfect throw. 1st down goes number 6 way, Agnew. Defense definitely looking like they're struggling. Don't know why. We have some of the best possible players we could have out there. Good stop on the outside, though. Arden Key continues just to be a shining light. That's probably because we don't expect much from him, so when he plays slightly above that, we think he's playing really well. Kittle in motion will be a lead block in the trap. A nice shed there from, I believe that was Milton Williams? Yes. I always forget because the DTs, we have a 92 and a 95, so I always get them confused. Either way, 3rd and goal here. Let's get the stop. Carr in the backfield, pass rush not getting there, and he throws out of the back of the end zone. Will force the field goal here, which means a touchdown for us on a slow, methodical offensive drive that drains the clock would be perfect. They do hit the field goal. It is now 20-17. And of course, with this being such an important drive, we're watching from the get-go. Bunch up top, 2 down below. Joe Burrow dropping back. Will throw to the bottom with the reception. There's DJ Chark. Joe Burrow just getting over 150 yards himself, so Chark definitely not close to that. With trips down to the bottom, 1 up top this time. Shotgun, hand this one off. Boston Scott tries to find some space, but a face mask, I'm pretty sure, is coming in here on Brooks. And indeed it is, so tack on those extra yards. Brooks has been solid for him today, but that one might prove to be costly. Quick throw up top, gonna find Moreau, who'll get the catch in 7 yards. Keep this thing moving here with the 2nd and 3, 2 up top, 1 down below. Joe Burrow, quick throw, slant, gonna find Terrence Marshall with the 1st past the 30-yard line. We'll say, I think this receiving core can be really solid. I'd expect a little bit more from him, but Terrence Marshall, I think, is doing his role really well. Really, it's just JJ. I don't feel like we're really getting as much out of him as we should be, considering he is that X factor. Gets the catch there, setting us up inside the 15. Now, I would prefer us start to chew some clock here at the 12, with about 3:40 and counting. Just come out with a goal line set. All the way back here, I guess it'll work, as Williams will pick up a decent chunk there, down to the 5. They say it's just a gain of 6, but going from the 12 to the 5 means 7, so math not adding up there. But a tight single back set here for Burrow. They bring the blitz and hits home at the perfect time. Jordan Brooks gonna scoop, and he's most likely going to score. I mean, they just timed up that blitz beautifully. I think that was Shaq Thompson right down the middle, and as soon as Burrow went to throw it, just got lit up. And yeah, Stingley's pissed off. Yeah, I understand. I'm sure there's a lot of guys on this team right now who's really not enjoying how this season has gone. Chark pops off with 27 yards though, so great, but then we give up another sack. Well, penalty helps us out, Jalen Petrie. Appreciate it. As we have under 2 minutes left, we're about at the 20 with Thaddeus Moss coming in to get the grab. Okay. On all 3 timeouts, just shy of 2 minutes. Can we make this thing interesting late? We're down 10, need a touchdown quickly, as we're going to find JJ back down to the 11. Burrow 21 of 28 on the day, so I mean, in terms of completion percentage, it's not awful. Just need to get some guys open here as we have Davis Price, who's going to lose yards, gain it back, and actually pick up some yards before going out of bounds at the 5. Gotta love the effort there. I mean, definitely was not thinking it was going to be a good play there for us. Obviously, you could probably tell by the tone of the voice, but ends up working out, and Terrence Marshall can't get the touchdown grab off the tip. Will leave us with a 3rd and 4 at the 5, 1:30. Still all 3 timeouts. As Burrow sitting in the pocket, will throw another interception. That one will seal this game up. Kenny Moore will end any hope we had of getting to 500 at the end of this game. Just not a good decision there from Burrow. I mean, if no one's open, don't force it into JJ. You're not Kirk Cousins. Just tuck and run. So let's just get this one moving. Unless we could force a fumble and pick it up and scoop and score off of it, not much expected here late. We have no more timeouts. We still are down 10 points. Chark with 22 yards and a touchdown. Okay. Well, can we get the onside? I mean, Chark at least really trying to get his development boost, but the onside kick is recovered by Houston, and it will be a loss. Well, we try to make it interesting late, and really try to make it interesting with the turnovers. But at the end of the day, it's another loss, sending us even further below 500, and it's time to get into some quick sims here and see if we could get just some amount of decent play from the squad. And before we get into those quick sims, do at least need to check in on the possible breakout opportunities. See if anything at least happened here. Doesn't look like it for Christian Fulton. He's frustrated. He's angry. Yeah, join the rest of the squad. As for DJ Chark, I was ready to go heading into this week, but things didn't go my way once the game started. I need to be better than that. So it looks like he came up a little bit short as well, despite really being the only player in that game who seemingly was getting things done. And if we actually take a look at the stats from the game, he was close. He was 13 yards off of getting that job done with 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, he was the most impactful receiver in that game, I mean, from either side. So, he did his part, just unfortunately was a few yards shy. But as we look forward to the next few games here, going to have the bye week. Maybe a team just needs the bye week. Who knows? Then we have the Colts and our second matchup against the Falcons. The first did not go very well, a 45-24 loss. We've played against the Falcons, we've seen them, so I don't really want to get into any more divisional matchups. We'll see maybe later on in the season if we have any more, if we do get into them, but I want to play some other teams. But definitely going to get through a couple more games here, so it gives us an idea of where we're sitting. Right now, the Falcons are 5-2, so unless we could really turn things around, it's not looking all too promising for us. At least winning the division, best hopes would be a sneak into like that 7th seed wild card, but we'll see. So let's get to simming, and hopefully we'll turn this thing around. And after simming ahead a few more weeks, this team already at 8 losses. I feel like the season's done. I feel like there's not much more we could do with the way this roster is currently built. Not that there's a lot more we could do, but I think essentially we're at a point where we need to blow it up. We've already kind of done that, if we're being honest. Since really early on in this series, I don't feel like I managed the roster all too well early on. Probably shouldn't have made some of the trades that I did make, but either way, this team's struggling. We allowed 28 points in the second quarter versus the Colts. Once again, scoring our most amount of points in the fourth quarter. Just continue. It's the same thing every single time. Joe Burrow, 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown, a little bit under 300 yards. He wasn't sacked, though. Rushing wise, 3.8 for Davis Price, 1 touchdown for Boston Scott on averaging 3 yards a carry, and Darrell Williams had a rushing touchdown. Receiving wise, great game for Foster Moreau, 10 catches, 165 yards, no touchdowns. Justin Jefferson, one of his better games, does get a touchdown, but besides him, nothing. I mean, DJ Chark only 18 yards. Defensively, Patrick Queen leads us in tackles with 10. We do at least have some tackles for loss. 2 for Phillips, 2 for Hunter, 1 for Patrick Queen, and 1 for Arden Key. But do we have any sacks? Half a sack for Milton Williams and Rashard Lawrence. Not sure why he's out there as often as he is, but apparently Madden wants him out there. Not much I could do about it. And we didn't force any turnovers. Against the Falcons, though, it was actually a closer game. Still losing by 5 points, 28-23. And it wasn't our best quarter in the fourth quarter. It was actually the second, slightly. But in this game, Joe Burrow throws 3 interceptions, 2 touchdowns, 274 yards, and was sacked 3 times. Rushing-wise, 3.6 for Boston Scott and 1.2 for Davis Price. So all around just trash. And it looks like Darrell Williams had a rushing touchdown for 0 yards. So that's cool. Receiving wise, Foster Moreau doing fantastic. 94 yards there, 1 touchdown. Chark bounces back in this game, but not much from Jefferson's besides the touchdown. So it really just seems like it's Jefferson or it's Chark. As for who gave up the sacks for our offensive line, Damian Lewis gave it up twice and Lyle Collins once. On defense, Cordell Float actually led us in tackles. Not sure how I feel about that from the slot corner. Prefer that from a linebacker. We had a few tackles for a loss. Float with 1, Christian Fulton with 1, Daniil Hunter with 1, and he finally got some sacks, 1.5. Thank God. Milton Williams 1 tackle for a loss. Any other sacks? Actually, yeah, a fair amount of sacks in this game. 2.5 for Arden Key, 1.5 for Daniil Hunter, 1 for Godshaw, and then half for Patrick Queen and Patrick Johnson. So great there, I suppose. And then against the Jaguars, this was a team led by Patrick Mahomes. There was some talk about, Mahomes versus Burrow, but we just weren't playing well, so I just wanted to sim a game. And we gave up 17 points in the fourth quarter, and we only scored 3 points in the second half ourselves. So really, again, not a good game. Patrick Mahomes, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, though, but we didn't sack him again. Burrow had 300 passing yards, only 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, was sacked again 3 times. Rushing yards, 4.7 for Davis Price, but only 6 carries. 4.2 for Boston Scott, 5 carries. Joe Burrow ran the ball 3 times for 18 yards. And receiving-wise, Chark, over 100 yards, no touchdown. And Moreau, again, sitting around that 100 yards and a touchdown. Jefferson, 57 on 4 is okay. Boston Scott did get a receiving touchdown, though. And the lineman who gave up the sacks, Robert Hunt with 2 and another one for Damian Lewis. As for our defense, Xavier Woods led us in tackles with 10. Not great when the safeties are doing it. As for tackles for a loss, 2 for Arden Key, 1 for Hunter. So he's getting involved in the run stopping, but nothing when it comes to rushing the passer consistently. But at least we were able to force some interceptions, 1 for Patrick Queen and 1 for Christian Fulton. Either way, this team... they're not looking good. I don't know what else to do. We've made all the trades. We have all these big name players, but they're just not getting the job done. So as we sit in week 13, I think it's time we change up the starting lineups, give some other guys a shot out there, at least for development's sake. Get to week 18, we'll jump into the last game, and then next episode will be another offseason where we have some work to do. So let's meet the new starting lineup and then sim forward to week 18, run through anything that's happened in between. If things get crazy and we go on a massive winning streak, well, then we'll jump in maybe a little bit before week 18. But as it stands, let's meet the starting lineup. As for the offensive side, I don't see a lot of changes really happening. Joe Burrow, he's going to be the guy that's starting. We're not going to start Ryan Griffin, a 10-year player who, if he retires, we might be out of luck for backup quarterbacks. Davis Price, since he's young, I do want him playing, and then Darrell Williams and Boston Scott will just be backups. So I'm going to have really just Davis Price take over all the different running back spots. Williams could play fullback for us, no problem there. When it comes to receiver, shutting down Jefferson, it's not like, I say not like anything bad could happen. He could possibly use a dev trait, so instead, I think I'm just going to slide Chark down. Nothing crazy would happen if Chark slides down. We'll get some of these other guys a little bit more opportunity to get out there, see if they could get something done in Jamarcus Bradley and Racey McMath. As for tight end, we know what Moreau could do. Let's see what Sullivan as well as Thaddeus Moss can do. We are going to change out Robert Hunt. He's been giving up a lot of sacks this year, so Max Mitchell will slide in and play at left tackle. At left guard, Damian Lewis has also kind of been a little iffy, so let's just slide in Ed Ingram, see what he could do. At center, Lord Cushenberry is going to continue to start. Same for the rookie guard in Chip Edmonds. He's actually had a pretty decent year. And Leo Collins is our best offensive lineman, so he's going to continue to start. As for edge rush, Hunter just really hasn't done anything this season. So let's see what we could get out of Patrick Johnson and some of these backups. Give him an opportunity. We're also going to slide up Andre Anthony. At right end, we will keep Arden Key out there just because he is one of the only guys who is performing for us. At DT, Devon Godshaw, we can go ahead and slide down. Going to keep Milton Williams out there because he is on the younger side. And we're going to move up both Lawrence and Shelvin, see if they could get anything going. Jacob Phillips will continue to be a starter at left outside linebacker. I'm going to keep Patrick Queen as a starter again because he's on the younger side. But at right outside linebacker, Quan Alexander, we are going to sub out for Jabril Cox. See if he can make anything happen. Corner-wise, all these guys are pretty young, so I want to keep them out there. But at the slot position, essentially, I am going to put out Lionel Potts, our rookie. I want to see what he could do. I know what Cordell Float can do. He is young, but I feel like that spot could be changed. As for the safeties, I do want to start Percy Butler. He started for us a little bit last year. We also have Amik Robertson, who is on the younger side. But we're going to see what Butler could do. He has the better speed. And strong safety, Xavier Woods, played pretty well for us this year. But I do want to see what we could get out of Eric Williams. So we will slide Xavier to that second spot. And honestly, I'm probably going to put him at the second spot over here, or at least the third spot over here. Jalen Mills probably will get moved on from when we get to the off season. And surprisingly, after putting in these backup guys, they actually put together some of our better form of play, winning 3 out of 4, including a 36-33 win against the Packers, 35-42 loss versus rival Panthers, a 24-21 win over the Lions, and a 38-35 win over the Jets. So the wins aren't by a drastic margin, but they're wins. We're actually scoring more points than the other team. So we have a couple games left to go through, and we'll try to get through them rather quickly. We'll go into that quick sim once again in game though, see how we're doing in the first half, go quarter by quarter, and kind of go from there, just so we could get a little bit of a decent look at these guys before we wrap up this season. So let's do just that. Get on into this first matchup here against the Bears, against Josh Allen. We'll see if our defense can step up at all. Now, as we get started, really want to see if we could see some big play from some of the guys from this last draft class that are getting the starts after the first quarter ends with the Bears up 7-0. So far, no points from us as the Bears widen it 4. Okay, but we pull one back. However, we still go into the second half down 21-7. We'll get into the fourth quarter. But we'd love to see if the safety can make some plays with the corner Potts and is it Evan Williams, I believe? As fourth quarter does start, and it is, in fact, still a 2-score game. So we'll jump in here as first play. We kind of slow down for Sullivan. Gets a touchdown 5-yard pass back to a 1-score game. We'll see if we can make this any bit closer. Mike Williams starts with 13, 7 more from Gaskin. Then a throwaway, 3rd and 3. Can we get the stop? No. Mike Williams with 10, converting the first down. 2nd and 8, 14 more yards. Irv Smith as they get past the 30 to the 25. 2nd and 7, a penalty, free first down inside the 15. So we'll pop in here, see what we could do late on. We are wearing the throwback unis. It's a read option going for Allen, and for what should have been a tackle at the line of scrimmage, he actually gained 6 off of. Love it. 2 up top, 2 tight ends down to the bottom. At the 4-yard line, gonna make an audible here. Handoff right down the middle. There's a gap for him, but he can't find it. We'll get the stop. I believe that was Lawrence. And they'll bring out the goal line set here on 3rd and 2 at the 3. They could get a free first, or not a free first down, but a first down with a free set of play. Yeah, just gloss over all that entirely. We get the tackle. That's what matters. Riley with the stop, but they're going for it here. Up 1 possession. They want more. 4th and 2. Allen in the pocket. Will throw down to the bottom corner and knocked away at the last possible second. Was it Patrick Johnson? It's Patrick something. Knocks it away. It will be a turnover on downs. Though we do start back at our own 3, as it will be a goal line for us with a tight end playing or an O-line playing tight end at the bottom. Don't know if you quite saw it there. Also, we will not have Davis Price the remainder of these 2 games. He did suffer an injury in the last game that we just simmed through. It was just a 3-week injury, but only 2 weeks left. So He won't be playing as a flag comes in here, I imagine holding. And that will be on the rookie Chip Edmonds. So backs us up to the 4 for 2nd and 9 as we sit in shotgun. Trips up top. Boston Scott down the middle, stuck on a lineman, tries to spin off, keeps those legs moving, and eventually they just blow the whistle. They say, no more, no first down, no, nothing crazy. Let's keep things simple. 3rd and inches with a single back set. Will be a handoff down the middle. Darrell Williams picks up the first down and a few more yards. Clock now under 3 minutes left in this one. Still need a touchdown to tie. Another trip set up top. Burrow across the middle will find Sullivan, who just gets smacked. Cops off the ball. And that might be it for us here. Gardner Johnson with the fumble recovery. And we'll jump back to the quick sim. About 2.5 minutes left. Should be at least a field goal here for the Bears. 1st and goal. Gaskin gets the 3. We just saw that 2-minute warning, slows it down and replays it. 3rd and goal. Allen rushes the ball in. They will finally regain that 2-possession lead with about 1.5 minutes on the clock. Jefferson picks up 7, another 5. 29 yards, Terrence Marshall. Again, I really like his play, but it's everywhere else that doesn't seem to be going all too well as Tracy Walker gets the swat, but Jefferson pops in with a touchdown here late. We'll drop back to a 1 score within 24 seconds. However, Chicago recovers, and they could kneel out the clock. So not going to be a win going back into our first watch bit. Very fitting. But, you know, at least we're keeping it close in these, so maybe we're close to turning the corner. Maybe. And we're going to jump straight on over to the Week 18 matchup against a very good team here in the Minnesota Vikings. They're led by none other than the GOAT himself, Tom Brady. They're, I think 12-4 or something like that on the season. However, we take a lead here and hold the lead into half, which is surprising. So let's actually jump in, at least I want to say jump in, but let's slow in to the second half here and see if we could actually watch some good play. Looks like we will be starting on offense. If we get past the 50, we'll jump in and watch as Sullivan picks up 17 yards. 4 more to Boston Scott. Again, still no Davis Price. And Justin Jefferson playing in Minnesota gets us past the 50. So we'll jump in here. Still rocking some throwback unis, this time the away version. Also the Vikings rocking their throwback as we get the halfback screen out, but it's going to be an immediate loss of 5 as Joe Burrow has thrown 3 interceptions in about 1 half of play. I don't know what's with him. I feel like even though he's like a 96 overall here, he just cannot help himself. We'll find Terrence Marshall. He's probably been one of the best receiving targets for us. Joe Burrow just 2/3 completion percentage, 20 of 30. Would be a little bit better if he obviously didn't have the 3 interceptions. But on 3rd and 2, we're going empty set. Interesting. Trips up top, 2 down below. Quick throw. We're going to find Sullivan, who will get the first down past the 30. And, you know, since we are rocking some throwbacks these last 2 games, with the new uniforms that have been announced this season, including the Vikings' new throwback uniforms, what is your favorite? I'm kind of stuck between a couple. I love the Seattle Seahawks throwback unis. Those are perfect. I do like the throwback unis for the Vikings. I think they look really nice as a flag does come in as we get a first down. I believe that was Racey McMath. But with that apparently being a DPI on Diggs, we'll decline. But yeah, I think 13 was McMath. It's either McMath or Bradley. Yeah, I do like the Vikings. What I hate, though, is that all these throwback unis don't hate the touchdown run that we're getting there. Boston Scott running through a man. Well, what I was trying to say is, yeah, I just hate with these throwback unis that if the average person wants to buy a throwback jersey, they're always these super long sleeves, and I feel like it just ruins so much of the design. Just give us like a standard like modern quarterback sleeve, which is essentially just a normal sleeve length. I feel like that would do so much better. As Arden Key comes through with a sack on 3rd down, defense gets the stop, and so far against one of the better teams in the league, we actually are holding a fairly decent lead here. I say decent is just a touchdown and an extra point, or actually 2-point conversion. Sack, though, Johnson. 2nd and 14, we pick up half of that. 3rd and 7, as we get into the 4th quarter, a throwaway from Burrow. But still having the 8-point lead against one of the best teams in the league, I mean, I'll take it at this point. Although Jameson Williams trying to end that with a big chunk there, and into the red zone they go with Robert Woods. So let's see if maybe we could see a splash play from the rookies in Williams. I'm pretty sure the safety is Williams. Honestly, can't quite remember. And then the corner in Potts has actually set up a halfback screen, and they set it up very well. That is a walk-in touchdown off the screen. Can't argue against perfect blocking. But of course, they're going to go for 2 here, trying to tie this thing up with about 6.5 minutes remaining. Tom Brady from under the center will hand it off, and 2 back-to-back plays where we do not touch the running back. Well, with 6.5 minutes, can we find a go-ahead score here? I will say Sullivan has been playing well at the tight end spot. Another sack coming in for Sweat. Then we lose 3 more yards. So 3rd and 18, who's going to show up? Jermaine Johnson, apparently. 4th and 22. No go-ahead score there. Can the Vikings find there? Not with Patrick Johnson getting the tackle. Or the sack, I should say. 20 yards of Stephon Diggs returns to the Vikings here. That's ironic. 5 more yards. 3rd and 3. 19 more to Stephon Diggs. Well, it's not a Minneapolis miracle here if they get the touchdown. Justice Hill playing with the Vikings. That's interesting. Throw away Tom Brady. 5 more yards Stephon Diggs, which we just saw hitting the 2-minute warning. And then they lose 2 yards. Okay, 4th and 7. They kick the field goal, Daniel Carlson. I love this random old Vikings that are with them in this fantasy draft. Really enjoy it. Now, we'll do the kickoff here, and we'll jump on in. With 1:43, can we find a touchdown to win Week 18? Honestly, kind of feel like that's asking too much, but we'll see what the squad can do here. As we start with trips down to the bottom, the tight end just off the top of the line. Burrow in the pocket, waiting. Will try to escape, but runs right at Sweat. I mean, maybe just don't run right along the backside of your offensive lineman. I don't know. Joe Burrow does not seem like an X factor here in Madden. With a dump off to the bottom, a little shake and bake, but not getting by the defender. It'll actually be a loss of about 1, maybe 2. So 3rd and 13, as we're trying to find a late game winner. We only have 1 timeout remaining. 1:05 on the clock and counting. Burrow to that bottom sideline. Justin Jefferson gets the grab and out of bounds at the 50. Don't say it's over just yet. 2 receivers up top, 1 down below is Jay Jets. Burrow sitting, waiting across the middle, going to find Jefferson once again, down to the 25. About 50 seconds and counting, now down to 40 after the 11-second runoff. Burrow trying to get things going here. Gets the snap, once again sitting in the pocket, going to dump this one off down below, and Boston Scott out of bounds. Burrow yet to throw a touchdown in this game. Let's give him one late here for the go-ahead score. 2nd and 7, 32 or about 30 now seconds and counting, and well, it's not going to be a touchdown. It'll be the 4th interception, actually. This one going to wrap, and that will wrap up this season. Not sure what Drew Brees, our head coach here, has in store for us moving forward, but most likely I'm expecting a lot of change this offseason. Joe Burrow has not got the job done, whether that's him or the guys around him. Well, we'll find out if it's the guys around him, because we can't go with anyone else but Burrow. So 17-14 is the Week 18 final. Well, let's just wrap up. Taking a look at the stats, we were 11th in offensive yards, 23rd in defensive yards. Essentially just 11th in offense, 23rd in defense. Now, in terms of passing versus rushing, we were actually the 2nd best passing team in terms of yards, and that's playing on 8-minute quarters, everyone else on 15, so we actually should have been the best. But we were also the 2nd worst rushing offense, which isn't fantastic. Points per game, we had 27.7, which kind of seems to put us, I would say, slightly above average in points per game, so that part's good. We scored 43 touchdowns through the air, 18 on the ground, but first downs, we were, I would say, slightly below average. So, inconsistent maybe? would be the best thing we could pull from that. Defensively, we were one of the worst passing defenses. Giving up 4,633 yards puts us about in the bottom 10. Rush defense, I would say about on average, maybe slightly below average, giving up 1,840. So, okay there. We did give up 514 points, which is one of the most amounts given up. One better than the Jets and a handful better than the Lions, but I mean, it's not good. We gave up a lot of points. Only 15 sacks. We weren't the worst. That would be the Colts, but the second worst in terms of getting sacks. Only forced one fumble, or actually fumble recoveries. Why would you have that instead of just saying forced? I don't know. 13 interceptions, though, does put us about middle of the pack, maybe slightly above. So we do some things pretty well and the other things really bad, kind of seems like. As for third down conversions, 52%, that does actually put us in the top half. And by a fairly decent amount, I would say we were about top 10 in converting our third downs. And similarly so to fourth down, slightly lower than top 10, but still in the top half, which is always nice. When it came to the red zone efficiency, though, we only scored about 2/3 of the time we were there, which puts us about average with the league. But when you're down there, you got to do better. Defensively, though, 61%. That puts us, I mean, it's going to be a little bit better than average, but it's still not fantastic. So we're not giving up as many as some other teams, but still not great. There was also 72 total red zone trips, which is second worst in the league. So, again, not great. When we look at the individual stats, Joe Burrow did throw for just shy of 5,100 yards, 41 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. At least wasn't 20, but interceptions still a problem, about one a game. Completion percentage, though, sitting at 69 is not bad. He was also sacked 34 times. Not very good. Rushing wise, we don't focus on the run much at all. Price was, I would say, solid. 3.7 is a fine average. 4 touchdowns for him. He did fumble once. Boston Scott, 3 yards an average, 5 touchdowns. He's more so supposed to be out of the backfield, so it's fine by me. And then Williams was more so just depth, but he did get 2 rushing touchdowns, as well as somehow Stephen Sullivan. Interesting. Receiving wise, Jefferson does get over 1,000 yards, so he should not see a dev trait regression. Hopefully that'll stay X factor. 15 touchdowns for him. Marshall, really solid, and honestly, if we kept Chark as one of the starters, he definitely would have been over 1,000 yards. I mean, 813, yeah, definitely would have been. But Marshall, really enjoy his play. Moreau has been solid for us, 6 touchdowns for him, a little over 800. We talked about Chark. Sullivan in his time out there, I think, was also solid for us. Horatio McMath ends up with 3 touchdowns, 0 touchdowns for Price, 1 for Boston Scott. Now, one of the areas we may see the most amount of change is going to be the offensive line going into next season. Lael Collins only gave up 10 sacks and from a tackle spot. That's not too bad. Now, Robert Hunt did not play the last, I would say, third of the season. So let's say that's, 2/3. It's about 9 sacks, we would say, for him. And they came in bunches. He would go like a couple games where he didn't give up any sacks, but then he would give up a game with like 3 or more sacks. So not great for that aspect. In his place, essentially matching what the same production was Max Mitchell, who did give up 3. But I don't know. If you double the snaps, he would play more snaps before giving up the same amount of sacks as Hunt, and Mitchell would be in line to take Hunt's spot if we decide to move on from him. Cushenberry, I think, was solid for us. 3, not bad. Ed Ingram in limited playtime gave up 2. Chip Edmonds played the whole year, missed a couple games due to some practice injuries, only gave up 2 sacks. Really happy with his rookie play. As for the defense, Patrick Queen did take a slight step back this year by about 18 less total tackles, so really not that much. 132 is really good. So solid there. Next guy was Christian Fulton. Again, we took out Quan Alexander, playing some of the younger guys later on in the season. Tackles for a loss leader was Arden Key. 13 continues to play pretty well for us. Milton Williams moving to that DT spot, I think, was solid. That was the correct move to go with. 12 tackles for a loss for him. 10 for Daniil Hunter. Solid. We'll talk about the sacks later because that was awful. Patrick Queen, 7 tackles for a loss. 5 for Phillips. 4 for Alexander, Johnson, and Godshaw. Not very impressed with the play from Godshaw. 3 from Rashard Lawrence. 2 for Fulton and Butler, and then 1 for Stingley, Woods, Float, Cox, Williams, and Riley. But getting to the sacks, extremely disappointing. 5.5 leads the team with Arden Key, 2 for Godshaw, 1.5 for Daniil Hunter. He didn't start the full season after his horrendous play. He did not start the last few, just so we could see a little bit from some of the other guys. And in that little bit of time, Patrick Johnson, the guy that replaced him, had the same amount of sacks. Take that as you will. Patrick Queen, 1.5 as well as Rashard Lawrence. 1 for Quan Alexander and half a sack from Milton Williams. So the D-line, in terms of rushing the passer, extremely disappointing, which is not going to help out the secondary because there's no pass rush to quicken anything. Patrick Queen, once again, leads us in interceptions, 4. 3 for Stingley and Xavier Woods. I thought they both played decently well. 2 for Christian Fulton and 1 for Quan Alexander. If we want to look at who gave up the most amount of catches, it's going to be Patrick Queen. But again, we talked about this before. Playing in the middle, you're going to see receivers, tight ends, running backs, the random offensive linemen as well. Fullbacks. I don't know if I mentioned that one. So there's going to be a lot more happening across the middle. More likelihood of finding some guys. Not going to hold that against Patrick Queen, though. I do want to address play across the middle. Derek Stingley, 31, isn't fantastic as an outside guy. Christian Fulton down to 24. That's better. A little bit more than a catch a game. You're looking close to about 2 catches a game there with Stingley. So, I mean, in general, not awful. Phillips, not out there much, but still somehow gave up 18. Xavier Woods, 16. He gave up less than 1 catch a game. Solid. I think we'll try to bring him back for next season. And in the slot, Cordell Float, 11. I think he deserves that slot spot. He locked it down. Lionel Potts, in his few starts, he did give up 5. Played a lot less time than that of what Float would have played. So I don't think he's going to continue to be a slot guy for us. Just wanted to see if we could get him some development, and he didn't really show up much. As for the kicking game, we are definitely going to try to bring back Cade York. 100% from extra points, missed 2 field goals, we'll let that slide. And if you like punting stats, Ryan Wright averaged just shy of 50 yards a punt, with his longest being a 71-yard punt. But that will do it for us here. This team consistently, despite having all these superstars, high-profile talent, they're not producing. So next episode, we're shaking it up. We're going to, I don't want to move on from some of the highest profile guys. I don't want to move on from Burrow. We can't really move on from Burrow. Don't want to move on from JJ, but Daniil Hunter, 10 tackles for a loss and 1.5 sacks. Really doesn't help us out at all. If we could find maybe a different option at edge rush, if there is a different option, maybe we look that way. There's a lot of different things I would like to try to do in this offseason, so make sure you guys stick around. Subscribe, bear icon on the bottom right, or scroll down, hit the actual subscription button right next to the bell icon, which you should hit as well, so you're notified when these videos go live. This series is going to be posted every single Wednesday and Saturday until we hit the playoffs, and actually are in the playoffs, then that will change very similarly to the Commanders Replacement Squad series, so you do not want to miss tomorrow's episode. I think I'm going to set that one as a premiere. First playoff game of that series. The teams come a long way. Make sure you tune in. That series typically posted every Monday and Thursday. We also have FIFA 23 I set aside Tuesdays and Fridays for. We're wrapping up the My Player career. We'll be moving into a created club, whatever the actual term is for that, soon. So keep an eye out for a start of that series as well. I'm toying with making it just a normal manager career, or if I'm going to make it a Youth Squad Legends. If you'd prefer one or the other, let me know. But until next time, where we're going to try to turn over this roster as much as possible. I feel like it needs a fresh start minus a few players. So a lot coming. We'll see you guys shortly for our next off season. Bye.
Fantastic.